Today we're presenting one of the most recorded pianos in history, the Yamaha C7. Hi, Ted Barsley with Alamo Piano Galleries. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have a chance or an interest, look at alamopianogalleries.com. You can find out more information about this particular Yamaha C7 and also any other musical instrument that we have in our inventory. And if you have any questions, by all means, give us a call. And as promised, this is a C7. It is a 50-year-old C7. It was manufactured in 1976. And we sold this piano about 13 years ago as a remanufactured piano from a second party. Do Re Mi had remanufactured this piano. It came to us essentially as a quote-unquote new used instrument. And it has now we've taken it back in under different circumstances. I don't know if we bought it, if we traded it, or if there was an upsell to it. A lot of that could be pending on when we do sell this piano. Meanwhile, we wanted to shoot a video and give a kind of a brief recap on the Yamaha C7 product. This piano in particular, the C7, is usually touted as the most recorded piano in history, and that's because it was one of the first very high quality grand pianos, big enough to be used for almost every single type of music. It initially took a major interest from a lot of jazz and pop players because it had a distinctive, clear, precise tone to it. Technicians loved them because they were easy to tune, easy to maintain. Players liked them because they just loved the sound. It had a tendency to be a little bit brighter than most normal pianos at the time. This piano originally debuted, not this particular one, but the model of C7 debuted in the 60s. And when we come back after listening to it, I'm going to tell you a couple stories about some of the first C7s that hit the US, and I know one of them ended up in a recording studio in San Francisco, and I've had a number of people that have played and recorded on that piano that said you would never believe that instrument was the one that was on so many records. So just for that, as kind of like as an introduction, let's go ahead and have a listen to see what this instrument sounds like after 50 years. But then again, it had been remanufactured with new pins and strings and hammers and essentially made new again about 13 years ago. I think part of the distinctive tone that goes with not just a Yamaha C7, but in particular one that is 50 years old. Remember, at the time that this thing was built, they had used and aged the lumber to perfection as they did at that time. This is a 7-foot 4-inch C7. There are other C7s now. They are manufactured. They are 7-foot 6-inch. They've been that way since about the mid-'80s. I believe in '83 or '84, the piano went from being 7-foot 4 inches to 7-foot 6. And I believe that when it initially came out, they were built at 7.2. There's also a matter of conversation you see in questions a lot of time is to the pedals. And this particular C7 was made to be sold in the USA market in the 70s. It was made with a sostenuto pedal. There are a lot of C7 pianos that were built and manufactured and distributed throughout the world that are 2 pedals. They do not have the sostenuto pedal. That is a distinguishing difference as to where the piano was destined for. This precedes Yamaha's seasoned for destination policy that they came out with about 15 or 20 years from now and since that time. The reason being is that there were a number of pianos that were not built for the US market, but were showing up on the secondary market as being used pianos for sale, and they were originally not designed to be brought into the US because they had 2 pedals. That explains why a lot of the G series of G7 pianos only have 2 pedals. And with that, I want to open it up for comments about the C7 sound and any C7 experiences, regardless of how old they are. This piano's been around since the mid-'60s, the mid to late 60s. They first started showing up in recording studios here in the US, and one of them ended up in San Francisco. And I do know that a lot of the original Vince Guaraldi recordings were made on a Yamaha C7. And also George Winston recorded his first album and his earliest recordings in the San Francisco area on that same piano. That same piano had been used for a lot of jazz recordings and a lot of classical recordings and pop recordings. Any kind of need that was that came up where a grand piano was needed in the San Francisco area, the best sound around was supposedly, and I don't know the name of the studio, I have all this information comes firsthand from the players that were there, and most of it comes from George Winston. If this piano interests you, give us a call. If not, go ahead and shop our site at alamopianogalleries.com. And there are lots of Kawais, lots of Yamahas. We have Steinways. We've got a great Model B. I might even compare it with this in recorded tone in an upcoming video. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or comments, give us a call or leave them down below. Thank you so much for your time, and we will see you next time.